Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to Monday, the 1st of July's EPL Index Transfer Daily. Ladies and gents, England are through to the next round. So that took most of the headlines. However, most of the transfer windows are now open around Europe, and even the Saudi window is now open. So it feels like ding, 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 like that thing that goes at the NASDAQ. Stuff is off for business, isn't it? And speaking of business, before we get even into rumours, it was a weird kind of deadline, wasn't it, yesterday, the FFP PSR deadline. Let's talk what happened right at the end on the bell. Because things were announced at 1 a.m. this morning. For a lot of people might not have clocked this, but let's just be clear on what was officially announced this morning. Let's start at Newcastle. Brighton confirmed and Newcastle confirmed that Yankuba Minte has completed his deal, and that tweet went out about 1 a.m. So the suggestion is, obviously, various outlets, around 33 million. At 1 a.m., Newcastle also tweeted, as did Nottingham Forest around that time, that Elliot Anderson has moved to the City ground. So Elliot Anderson is a Nottingham Forest player for around, again, £35 million. Now, according to the reports, there's a few even coming out this morning from Newcastle journalists. The black hole Newcastle faced was over £50 million. Hence the offering of Gordon, Isaac as alternatives, ultimate pull shoot in case of emergencies, but they managed to sell other players, didn't they? And also confirmed at 1 a.m. as part of the same tweet, and apologies, Newcastle and Forest fans are probably going to butcher this name, but I think the keeper, Vlachodimos, I think it's pronounced, is also now a Newcastle player. So business done between Forest and Newcastle. Newcastle and Brighton. Newcastle essentially have made up their money that they needed to. You do wonder, because quite a few outlets had, or have now, I should say, has Anthony Gordon's head been turned? What does he think about being offered like that? What does Isaac think about being offered like that? Newcastle take a lot of the headlines, it's fair to say. But let's get back onto other business. Well, actually, let's correct me there for a second. Amari Hutchinson, Chelsea, did that deal with Ipswich. He is now an Ipswich player for 22 million. And Kieran Dewsbury-Hall is not yet a Chelsea player. That is important to confirm. Maybe they've left that till afterwards. Because if you think they recouped some money for Kellyman, they recoup some money now for this player as well, Hutchinson. So can Dewsbury-Hall be afterwards? Chelsea maybe made, as well as the training ground and all that, those incisions there. So those are the updates. Again, going wider afield now, and like we normally do with the best of the rumours, the Express has got 4 clubs, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea and West Ham, all interested in Italy's Riccardo Calafiori. Italy went out yesterday. He was suspended for that game. And apparently, according to the Express, it will take 40 million plus to entice him, or Bologna more importantly, in that regard. Nico Williams, he was a star last night for Spain, but Sport in Spain, one of their national papers, has said that a number of Barcelona's directors remain unconvinced. Now, it came out from Barcelona yesterday. They had to release, they wanted to do another deal, like another loan, but they just can't afford it because of their financial situation and the precariousness around that. So João Felix is now back, Atletico Madrid. He won't be happy. Cancelo is now back as a Manchester City player. He will not be happy either. So we'll see what happens there. Also, I kind of jumped the gun a little bit. Talked about Chelsea, Leicester, and how Dewsbury-Hall. Michael Gordon, never heard of the player, won't pretend, but Leicester apparently, according to The Athletic, close to agreeing a deal. He's a Chelsea youth player going to Leicester, so the other way. Dewsbury-Hall, Leicester to Chelsea. Michael Golding, Chelsea to Leicester. Funny how all these clubs are doing the business together that way as well. United have been linked with a few. They're very much, we've seen that centre-halves are on their agenda. De Ligt was linked to Red. Well, yeah, a couple of days ago, when it keeps going, so it's worth mentioning. However, Football Transfers also saying that Ronald Araujo is out, or he's not in their thinking anymore at all. So interesting to see what happens with him. He's one of the assets you feel Barca could cash in on. According to Fabrizio Romano via Team Talk, Eddie Howe's made it clear they should not cash in on Isaac at all, despite the interest. However, this may be easier said than done. What do those players think now about that? And Tottenham are set to trigger, according to Football Insider, an extra year on Heung-min Son's deal. So, yeah, it looks like he could well and truly finish his career there at Spurs. The only other one to note, there was talk from German side yesterday, quite a few sources, that the Michael Olise deal is not in doubt and in jeopardy because people had started to report on that. However, the German transfer window only now opens today, and that deal is still expected to go through. So they're being clear on that because there's been a lot of speculation, hasn't there, back and forth around there. Douglas Luiz, I should say as well, he did complete his move. He is now a Juventus player at the same time as well. I want to finish on, which is an interesting one. Archie Gray. I mean, 24 hours ago, we talked about it. It looked nailed on for Brentford, didn't they? And everyone thought, what a deal they've got. However, Leeds turned that offer down. And now various outlets have Tottenham as front of the queue. It's an interesting one. I mean, the footballing pedigree from the family is immense. He's really shone. You know, a lot of people look at this kid as a superstar, but the Ornstein bomb had him at Spurs, or potentially Spurs working on a deal, it's important to say, as the headline went. But there we go, ladies and gents. It's Monday, the 1st of July. There's a lot of teams back to training this week as well for their pre-season. So that gives managers, sporting directors a chance, doesn't it, to have that discussion with those players. And we expect things to really start picking up. Because it's been an exciting little deadline, hasn't it, that 30th of June? Look at all the business and all the things it spun there. So, yeah, let's hope that it continues in that method. But on Monday, the 1st of July, that was your EPL Index Transfer Daily.